What's up YouTube? Ace Poker back for another video. We have won 5 sessions in a row. Can we make today 6? We are back to the same home game. And if you guys wondering why I'm always playing at this home game, the home game is 20 minutes from me and the nearest casino is an hour. The casino games are just very nitty and slow, and I don't really like any of the action around besides Borgata, and I can't film there yet. Hopefully I could film there again soon. But I love this home game action. Hopefully you guys do. I think it's a cool environment. I can easily and just openly film there, so the angles for everything is better. They always let me get the end seat. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let's get right into some hands and let's win 6 in a row, baby. Let's go. Alright everybody, welcome back. Thank you guys for tuning in to another video. As you guys see, yes, we may or may not be getting it all in with 7-2. Stay tuned to find out. I apologize for the video here, it's a little messed up. I just sat down trying to adjust to everything, but we looked down at Queen Jack suited, decided to raise it up to $25 in middle position and pick up 3 callers. So looking to smash a board early, and we do. We flop top pair. Very good. There's a flush draw out there. Can definitely get some value from a lot of holdings, especially multi-way. Gonna bet out for $40 here, and we only pick up 1 caller, so nice to shed this down to heads up. Looking for a clean turn, and we don't exactly get that, but I think that there's a ton of hands that my opponent can definitely have, and I don't really want to check and sort of give up and have to check call. So I decided to bet out here for $40 again to just kind of see where I'm at, and my opponent pretty quickly folds, so nice to win, get a little bit of a cushion here, up about $100. Who doesn't love starting the day off with a nice easy pot and a nice cushion to start the session off? Yeah, just as I mentioned, an easy start. We get put in the ringer right away in this hand, and I want you guys to really think about this hand and lock in and listen to all my thoughts, because this is really one of the hands that I've thought about the most in my entire career. I got the clock called on me, I waited till the last second, and to this day, I don't really know if I made the right decision. I think I did, but let's go over it. We look down at pocket queens. They kind of attract me like a magnet in this game. We are in the big blind, so the perfect position here. Under the gun limps, under the gun +1 folds, and then the next player in middle position opens it up to $35, which is a pretty big sizing for this game. Typically people are $20 to $25, sometimes $30, and now 2 players call $35. So it gets back to me in the big blind, and I want to go big. It looks like a perfect spot to squeeze, and I actually have a good hand. So for instance, if I had ace 2, 3, 4, 5 suited, maybe ace 10, ace jack suited, this would be a great spot to raise big. So now that I've got a really good hand, I want to do that as well. I make it $200. Now it gets back to the initial raiser, and I'm thinking he'll probably maybe flat call, or I'm hoping that he'll just jam all in, and that'll make my decision easy and I can call. But he does one of those options that really puts me in the ringer. I let this clip run the whole entire time because I want you guys to look at his body language, how long he took, how long he thought about this, how meticulously he did this, and he raises me to $500. So now it gets back to me, and this is a gross spot. I look at his stack, he covers me, I bought in for $900, so I've got $1,000 in front of me. That's 200 big blinds in this game. I don't really want to get it all in pre-flop for 200 big blinds with anything but aces or kings. That might sound extremely nitty, but on the off chance here he has aces and kings, am I really going to get stacked for 200 big blinds? So let me take you guys through my long thought process here. I look over at my opponent, and a big part of my game is live tells. I'm staring at him. I can see his heartbeat, really. I can see him breathing, and he looks so calm. That is number 1, but I don't really want to take that too much into account. Let's think about what hands he could be doing this with. First, let's start with the hands that we could beat, because that's the more fun side of thinking. If he has pocket 9s, pocket 10s, or pocket jacks, do you think he would raise to $500? Personally, I don't think so. I think jacks especially is going to go all in here. I think pocket 9s and pocket 10s are going to frustratingly maybe fold. It's a weird spot to flat call, and just like I said, I don't want to get queens in for 200 big blinds. Most players aren't going to want to get 9s or 10s in for 200 big blinds. So I'm ruling out pocket 9s, I'm ruling out pocket 10s. Pocket jacks could be a possibility, but like I said, I think that's just going to want to go all in because this is an enticing sizing for me to call, and if I call and the flop is queen, king, ace, high, it's going to be very hard for him to continue or play post flop. So I think pocket jacks goes all in, so I'm pretty much ruling that out as well. Now another likely hand that I am beating but is a flip is ace king offsuit or ace king suited. I don't necessarily think people are going to be doing this with ace king offsuit, but I do think with ace king offsuit or ace king suited, they're going to go all in because just like pocket jacks, ace king is very hard to play post flop. You have to hit an ace or a king or you're done. You have to go full barrel and bluff out your opponent. So most people, including myself, like to just get ace king all in pre-flop. And now that leads the two single hands that are beating us, pocket aces and pocket kings. Now I want you to think about what my opponent did, the sizing that he chose. He raised to $35 pre-flop, which is a bit larger than most players do, and instinctively and just really not even thinking about it, a lot of players like to raise bigger with their better hands. I do it too. As you see, sometimes my pre-flop betting is $20 to $25. I do typically tend to make it $25 with bigger and better and stronger hands. Shh, don't tell the people that I'm playing against, but I just do it sometimes instinctively and just not even thinking about it. So I think that is a tell right there. And now once he faces the raise to me for $200, he's in position here, which is a very weird thing because he definitely could have some flat calls with aces and kings as a trap, but it's just very hard to play that post flop and get max value. I think if I was in his shoes and I had aces and kings, I would probably flat call, but if he doesn't want to get sucked out on thinking I might be bluffing, raising to $200 pre-flop, which is a pretty big sizing, if I have like 8-9 suited, jack 10 suited, queen jack suited, king queen suited, any of those holdings, I guess he won't maybe want to get sucked out on and wants to just get it all in pre-flop. So if he's going to re-raise me, he doesn't want to scare me away, so he doesn't want to go all in, so he raises me to $500. I think that this sizing is extremely indicative of a very strong hand. I think if he had aces or kings, this is the sizing that he would choose. Like I said, I look at him, he's very calm, cool, collected. The dealer tells me I've got a minute left, and now my heart is racing. What am I going to do here? A large part of me really just wanted to call the $300, and then if I saw an ace or a king on the flop, I could fold, but I'd have to go with smaller flops. Say the flop was 6, 7, 8, 5, 3, 8, 5, jack 2. I would have to go with it, but I don't know. I've only put $200 into the hand. Like I said, I'm up $100 at this point, so if I fold, I'll only be down $100 and have my entire stack to play for the entire day. Do I really want to just bust and reload and be really pissed off? I don't know, it's extremely nitty and it pains me, but I fold the pocket queens. Am I crazy? What am I doing? It pains me. I immediately feel regret. I immediately feel like, I just wanted to go all in and know about it. But listen, the best players can make the best folds. My friend was actually at the game with me today and I texted him and he thought that I made a good decision. Like I said, this was very early on in the session, like my first 30 minutes there. And I just want to add one more thing. I watched this player play so closely and intently for the entire session because I wanted to know if I made the right decision. And let me tell you two key points here. My opponent barely played any hands for the rest of the night. This was my first time playing against him. I had no prior knowledge. He barely played hands for the rest of the night, just kind of knitted it up. And then late in the night, I witnessed him just flat call ace-king pre-flop. Flat call a flop bet when he flopped a king, and then check, check, turn, check, check, river, and flip over ace, king. If he's going to play ace, king that passively, this makes me more and more confident that I made the right fold, considering he's not going crazy with ace, king later in the session. I think he 100% had aces or kings, and I made the right decision. If I had to put my life on it, it was definitely kings. I think he would maybe have flat called aces. Maybe he'll get it all in with jacks, queens. Maybe he's putting me on jacks and queens and thinks I'll just jam and go with it. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. I know this was extremely long, but I wanted to go over my entire thought process so you guys could maybe not think that I'm crazy. Maybe you guys still think that I'm crazy. But it sucks because I normally buy into this game for $500, $600, $700. I would have 100% got it all in for $500, $600, $700. But the fact that I had an extra $300, I was sitting with 1,000, 200 big blinds. I didn't want to get it all in. I don't know. Call me a nit, call me a loser, call me anything you want down below. I'm excited to read all these comments and hear what you guys have to say down below. Thank you guys for watching this crazy hand. Alright, sorry that was so long, but I really wanted to get all of my thoughts out there to you guys. Tried to make it as short as possible, but we're on to the next hand. It's over. We can only just move on from here, and this hand is crazy. I'm gonna be honest, I was very discombobulated. I forget who raised in this hand, but the moral of the story is there's a $20 raise somewhere, and 7 people call. So it's essentially a $20 bomb pot here, and we actually flopped decently. Another jack high flop for us. Looks pretty good. There's another flush draw out there. I'm under the gun +1. It checks to me, and I throw out sort of like a feeler protection bet, I don't even know, for $40. And we pick up 2 callers in the small blind and big blind, so not only are we now 3-handed to the turn, but we're in position under the gun +1. So honestly, best case scenario. Let's see a turn and let's see if we can get a good clean one here. The turn, awful. The ace of diamonds. The front door flush comes in now, and the ace is also beating us. I don't have a diamond, and I decide to reach down for some chips and bet $55. Why did I do this? I don't know. I'm completely discombobulated from last hand. They both check to me. Would they do that with a flush? Probably, but in the moment, I decide to bet and only get called by the small blind. So we're headed to a river. I don't even know what I want to see. Maybe I'm going to bluff. I have no idea. Until the king rolls off. We now have 2 pair, a very good 2 pair, but the flush is still out there. My opponent checks, and you see me fiddle with my cards here, which is a live tell actually that I'm really not that strong, or maybe that I'm pondering something, and I am pondering something. And like I've said many times before, this is a spot where previous me would have said, alright, I'm going to snap check this one back, give up here, but it's hard to make a pair in Texas Hold'em, and we've got 2 of them things. So, I don't know, I think, especially against this opponent, if you guys have watched some of my previous vlogs, he's called me down very light. In some similar situations, actually, where I wanted to check back, but decided to go for some thin value. So, I toss out $80, and he snap calls me. I don't know what that means, but I show the king jack, and we're good. So, maybe he had a smaller 2 pair of some sort, considering he was in the small blind, and there was a million callers in front of him, and, you know, he was getting 1,000,000 to 1, but happy we take this one down, and now we've made up our losses from the last hand, and we're back in profit. So we're shaking off the queens. Maybe it was right, maybe it was wrong, but like I said, can't do anything about it now and just have to keep moving forward. As if this session wasn't crazy enough, we look down at ace king in the cutoff. There's a few limps, and I decide to raise this one up to $25. The small blind makes the call, and now it gets back to the player who's on my direct right in the hijack, and he raises it to $300. Yep. So, without any thought, I just snap fold this one. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm sitting on $1,000. Like I said earlier with my whole explanation, not getting in 200 big blinds with anything besides aces or kings. If I'm not getting in queens, I'm not getting in ace king. Maybe suited if I was just in a, you know what, screw it mood, who knows. But I fold, and after talking to the player to my right for a little bit, he told me he had aces. So yeah, thanks for letting me off the hook on that one. If he just maybe raised a regular size to 80, I would have called and maybe would have lost all my money on an ace or king high flop, even if the flop was ace king. So thanks for bailing me out on that one, dude. I proceed to get pretty frustrated as I whiff a lot of flops with some very playable hands until we get to this interesting hand with ace 10 of diamonds. I decide to raise it up to $25 in the cutoff, and the small blind annoyingly 3-bets me to 80, and as you see, he doesn't really have that much more. I think it's around $150 to $200 more, so I did think about just jamming and getting it all in and gambling here, but it's only $55 more, so let's just call and try to hit a flop here. Think it's a little dumb to just jam pre-flop because it's really not that much more for me to call, and if I hit something good, I can go with it and win the rest of his money. So I call, and we see just that as we see an ace high flop. Obviously, he still could have ace jack, ace queen, ace king, but going to be a lot of his low pocket pairs, even kings, queens, jacks, all those hands. When he checks, I decide to check back, be a little bit sneaky here, planning on some fun stuff on some later streets, and that's what happens as we see a clean turn. He checks, and I decide to do something very unorthodox and just put him all in. It looks very bluffy. I could have just picked up a flush draw here, maybe just trying to push him off any hand that he has, but he thinks about it for a little while and puts in the call, so not sure what he has. The river's a jack. Now we're losing to jacks as well. But I show the ace 10, and if you see his hand movement here, he was very ready to muck his hand, so I don't know what he had, maybe just a flush draw, and when he missed, he knew he had nothing. Just a very funny and weird hand, but we're going up on the right direction. Let's try to keep it up. Next, we look down at Queen Jack of Hearts, a pretty hand under the gun. There is a $10 button straddle on. I raise it up to $30 and get no less than 4 callers. Yes, that's the name of the game. You guys see it every single time I raise. I get a ton of callers. Not much respect. Everybody's trying to get in there. Looking to see a good board, and we do. Yet another jack high flop. That's the 3rd time today. Heads up, I would definitely start to check this, as you want to have some strong checks in your range. You can't always just check when you have nothing, or else you'll be very exploited and your opponents will just bet when you check. But multi-way with the spade flush draw out there, I want to bet. I decide to c-bet for $40, and we only pick up 1 color, so we shed this from 5 ways all the way down to heads up on the turn. The turn looks clean. There's still a spade flush draw out there, so I want to continue betting. I bet $50. My opponent makes the call once again, and we see probably the worst river in the deck, the ace of spades. The front door flush draw gets in there. If he somehow was floating me with ace high, he got there, or if he paired one of the lower cards with an ace, now he makes 2 pair. So I check, my opponent snap checks back, and we win versus a lesser jack, jack 10. So at least that's good, and unfortunately our session starts to take a turn after this hand, so just stay tuned and see why. As you guys know, this is just a highlight video, and I don't connect with every flop as we miss 2 clubs here, ace 10 of clubs and ace queen of clubs, and then we look down at 9 10 of clubs. Surely the 3rd time's a charm, huh? We are under the gun +1 and decide to open it up to $20. The player to my left calls, and now it gets back to the button, who has about $140, $150, and he goes all in. Gets back to me, I think, for a little while. Like I said, the 3rd time is maybe the charm. I've said this before, when I'm up a little bit of money and somebody does something like this, I tend to get in there, spread the wealth, splash it around a little bit. Plus, 9-10 suited, jack 10 suited, queen jack suited. Those suited connectors are some of my favorite hands out there. Some good content, it's fun. I decide to flick in the call. The player to my left was making some change, so ignore that. But my opponent has ace jack of spades, which is actually a really good hand to see here. We're flipping, he doesn't have a pair. It's essentially like going up against ace king or ace queen or any of those type of hands. He asks if we can run it twice. I say sure, at least we'll win 1 board, right? Nope, we brick out both runouts. There was only like 1 club on either of the runouts. We had a gutter on the top and then literally nothing on the bottom. So yeah, like I said, when I'm up some money and somebody does something like this, I'm happy to just get in there and have some fun. You never see stuff like this at the casino, really. Nobody really short buys or does anything crazy like this at the casino. So it's fun, and I love playing with the guys here. So happy to give some action back most of the time, and we're on to the next hand. Going from one of my favorite hands to one of my least favorite hands in pocket jacks. I mean, really, is there anybody out there that likes pocket jacks? I'm in middle position, and I open this thing up to $25. It gets back to the button, and now he 3-bets me small to $55. The player to my right puts in the call after limping $5. This is a very, very weird development. I look over at the button stack. He has roughly $200 left. No decision here. I don't really feel like flatting. I just put him all in. He snap calls when it gets back to him, and the player to my right folds. He asks me if I want to do it 1, 2, 3 times. I'm done with that. 1 time, just rip the band-aid off. Whatever you got, you got. Let's see the run out. The run out comes, and it actually looks clean, as there's only a queen out there, so we would only be losing to ace queen or, you know, something of that nature. Maybe if he had queen 10, that would be ridiculous. But it doesn't even matter, as my opponent flips over pocket aces. So like I said, this session was headed down the wrong path, and that's 2 losses back to back. Now we're down about $100 on the session. Let's see if we can rebound and keep on going. Slightly tilted from that, as that's one of the action players at the table. That's the worst when you get into a cooler on the wrong side against one of the action players. Just very annoyed with how the session is going. I'm picking up pocket 10s, ace queen suited, queen jack suited, king 10 suited, all these really good hands, and not being able to connect to one single board. losing pot after pot after pot after pot after pot after pot. Gets very, very frustrating, especially when I was off to an alright start after that rocky hand with queens. I feel like I've just been thrown off all day from that hand, which leads me to this hand. Yes, the graphics are right. We chipped all the way down to $400. That's what losing tons and tons of little hands over the course of 2 hours will do to you. But here's what you've all been waiting for. Let's see how I get all in with 7-2 suited. Yeah, let's get into it. Alright, to rip the band-aid off, to get into it, how am I even in this hand? I'm on the button. I put on the $10 button straddle. Yes, I never ever straddle, but after losing all day and being down, screw it. Let's straddle. We look down at 7-2 suited. 4 people called. Obviously, once it got to me, I'm not going to be doing any re-raising. I just check and I look up and I have to rub my eyes because the flop is 7-2-4 with 2 diamonds. Oh my goodness. Even better, get a load of this. The big blind leads out for $30. Under the gun +1 calls $30. Gets over to the hijack, who raises it to $90. Looks like somebody, maybe everybody, has a piece of this board. What are we to do when it gets back to us? Do we flat the 90? How suspicious does that look? How strong does that look? I actually think it looks less strong if we were to go all in here. Everybody's seen me going crazy, losing hand after hand after hand, chip down to only $400. That's just not really like me. So I just jam my $400 in there. I think it looks extremely bluffy. I think it pretty clearly looks like I have a flush draw by doing this. It's pretty obvious that I was on the button straddle, so I could have any 2 cards here. I could have 4-2, could have 7-2, could have pocket 4s, could have pocket 2s, could maybe even have pocket 7s, although I would definitely re-raise that from the straddle. But we have 2 pair here. So the player who originally bet $30 folds, the next player folds, and now the player who raised to 90 hops in the tank. This clip was 5 minutes long because this player thought about it forever. He's thinking, and this player is a bit on the tighter side, so the fact that he was even thinking about this for this long, I know he's got something, and it's got to be something good. And after a long tank, he puts in the call. Oh my goodness, if we win here, we could get back to even. The day will be awesome. I'm thinking that my opponent's going to flip over a flush draw, and I just have to fade that. But even better, my opponent flips over pocket jacks. Oh my goodness, he just limped pre-flop, and he got punished for it. He says you want to run it once or twice, and I'm like, you know what? We'll just run it twice. I really like this guy. Been having fun playing with him for the last couple weeks. So maybe next time when I need something, he can help me out and run it twice. Although, like I said, I just want to start running it one time. Let's see, 2 runouts here. The first run out comes. Oh my goodness, he rivers a jack. Oh, if I went once, I would have been sick. All right, let's see the second run out. At least we'll just be scooping this pot right. Nope, a freaking 4 right on the turn. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? We flop 2 pair in a spot where we have all this equity. Oh my goodness, and we lose not 1 but 2 runouts. Yeah, with how our luck's been going recently, I guess it just had to turn, and that's how this session is going to end, unfortunately. Let's head out to the outro and see my thoughts. Alright, wow, you guys normally see the outros from my car, but I was pretty pissed off reasonably after that hand. Just a rough session, but with how things have been going, I have to take it into account and take it into the bigger perspective and just take a step back and look back at everything and say, wow, you know what? I just had 5 winning sessions in a row. The luck has been on my side. That's poker. Sometimes it's not going to be. So in a better mood today, actually just editing the vlog now, threw on this hoodie and this hat, hopped in my room to record this. But thank you guys so much for watching and sticking with me through the ups and the downs. I always want to show you the reality of playing poker, I guess semi full time. It's not my only source of income, but hope you guys enjoyed it and hope you guys have a great day. Thank you guys for watching.